Hello, everyone, and welcome to this introductory webinar on Zoho Projects. My name is Sherjan Sam, and I'm a product marketing associate here at Zoho. So, this is going to be our agenda for today. We'll begin with a short overview of Zoho Projects, after which we'll be jumping right into the app for a demo. So, let's get started. Now, as you know, Zoho Projects is a project planning, tracking, and team collaboration app. Over 1 million businesses use Zoho projects, and they represent almost every industry from marketing to aviation and from construction to software development. And there are also teams of all sizes, from freelancers keeping track of things on their own to large corporations with hundreds of users running hundreds of projects. And integrations is a strength of Zoho, so it follows that Zoho Projects works closely with several apps. It is integrated with our own apps such as Zoho CRM, Zoho Docs, and Zoho Chat, and other apps like Dropbox, Google Apps, Slack, and Bitbucket. Now, Zoho Projects is a feature-rich app, and so it has many modules. But it is enough if you know a few basic details to first get started. So here they are. The very first thing that you need to do is create projects. So laying a road, adding a new feature to a software product, upgrading a website, doing interior decor for a house, organizing an event, these are all different kinds of projects. So once you set up your project, you then split it into smaller tasks, which you assign to different people. So this is the foundation to planning and tracking a project. And if you know this, you're good to begin. Now, projects, tasks, and users may be all that you need to begin with, but as your organization grows and you start working on more complex projects, you would need a more advanced system to track your work. Zoho Projects has an elaborate hierarchy to handle this. And in order to illustrate this, we're going to consider a pet expo project that is taken on by the company Zilka. So once you've set up your Zoho Projects account, you create a project. Zilka has created the London Pet Drive project. And the next step is to set up milestones for the project. Now, milestones are tools in project management that are used to mark specific points along a project timeline. So this could be the start of a project, the end date, a need for external review, budget check, etc. So this way you will be able to observe and monitor the progress and performance of the project. So here, planning, logistics, and marketing are some of the milestones. And it means that these stages must be completed before reaching the final goal or objective. And under each of the milestones, you have a bunch of related tasks called the task lists. So here, refreshments and booths are two task lists in this project under the logistics milestone. And under each of the task lists, you have a set of tasks. So here, as you can see, these three are the related tasks that come under the refreshments task list. And finally, if you feel that any of the tasks can be further broken down, you can do that by adding subtasks. So this is the entire hierarchy. Another important thing I would like to mention here is the task dependency. At Zoho Projects, we support four different types of task dependencies: the finish to start, the start to finish, the finish to finish, and the start to start. I'll be showing you in detail about these dependencies during the demo. But you need not be overwhelmed by all of this information. Do keep in mind that you only need projects, tasks, and users to first get started. You can add the rest of the stuff later on as needed. So let's go into the demo then. So here in the homepage, you get an overview of everything on your plate: tasks, issues and bugs, milestones, a timesheet summary, calendar, upcoming events, etc. Now, these are all widgets that you can move about and rearrange as per your convenience. You can also customize what you want to see on your screen. There is also a feed page where you get updates across your various projects. So this works exactly like a Facebook feed page. You can comment on a particular update and easily drop in files and attachments. Now, the feed page is divided into sections of three. the feed, the status, and the activity stream. So, under the status, you will be able to see statuses posted by different people across different projects. And the activity stream shows you every bit of activity that's been happening within the projects that you're a part of. For example, if someone's changed the date of a task, or deleted a forum post, or added in a new document, you can see all of that information here. You also have a Smart Add tab at the beginning of your page from where you can quickly post in a new status or add a new task or schedule an event. So you can easily drop in files and attachments here too. After you've added in users to your account, type add to mention someone and hashtag to mention issues or bugs. So I'm going to first show you how to add users to your account. So go to the global setup menu, which is present at the top. Then choose portal users under manage users and add the user. So you have to first give a valid email address, assign roles and profiles. This basically helps you define and control user permissions for a person in your team. So I will be telling you more on that in a minute. You can also set a rate per hour and select available projects that you want them to be a part of. Now, within Zoho Projects, you can also add client users. So this makes it easy for your clients to keep track of the project progress once they're added in. So all you have to do is give an email address and a web address, a location, and add. And you can add them to the selected projects. So if you are a Zoho CRM or a Zoho People user, you can very easily import or export users in bulk by making use of our integrations. So integrations are present in the setup page. So you will be able to import your users from here. Also, to manage projects on the go, we have both Android as well as iOS apps for you. Now, as promised, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about profiles and roles in Zoho Projects. Now, a profile is a set of permissions that decides what a user can and cannot do. So when you add a new profile, you will be able to choose between a user profile or a client profile. And you can set permissions for three levels: portal, project, and module permissions. So by default, Zoho Projects has a bunch of profiles with predefined permissions which cannot be removed, such as the admin, manager, employee, contractor, and the client. But with the exception of the admin, you will be able to edit and customize all of the profiles and even create new ones. So you can even decide which user profiles have permissions to create or edit other profiles. Besides profiles, you can create various roles for people in your company. So a role states what part a person plays in a team or what designation they hold. So any role can be edited or removed. So you can add mention a role to notify someone or even a group of people in that role. So all you have to do is give the name of a role. For example, okay, so as you can see here, you will be able to notify all the managers about something. Now let's move on to projects. So here you will be able to view a list of all the active projects that you're a part of. So the very first thing I'm going to show you here is how to add a new project. Give a project name. This is a mandatory field. You can choose a template if you want or go with none. Assign an owner. Give a start date and an end date. And if you choose to make this a strict project, this would mean that all the project modules, such as task lists, tasks, and milestones, have to be strictly within the project date range and cannot be scheduled outside it. You can also give a project overview or a description if needed. Set the project access to private or public. Private means only users who are part of your project will be able to access it, whereas public means all the portal users, including your client users, will be able to view and follow the project. Now, as you can see, you have certain additional fields here. Now, you will be able to add in additional fields as per your project requirements. So in order to do this, go to the global setup menu at the top and choose layouts and fields under portal configuration. Now here, as you can see, you can now create layouts and custom fields for both your projects as well as your tasks. So this acts like a template from which you can model your projects. So the standard layout for your project consists of all the default additional fields that are now displayed while adding in a new project. You can make changes to this list by reordering and then saving the order. You can also edit field names and even delete ones that you think are no longer necessary. But these deleted fields will still be listed under the available fields tab and you can reuse them whenever needed. All you have to do is drag and drop to add them in again. You also have the option to add new fields to your layout, and this can be either text, numeric, date, or a pick list. So drag and drop the required field type to edit. For instance, I'm going to demonstrate this to you using a pick list. So we're going to add in a pick list for category. So these are the different categories under which the different projects of Zilka fall. After you've given in some field values, you can also set a default value if necessary, or you can go with none. So we're saving it, and you will be able to see that when you go back to your projects and you try to add a new project, you will see that the additional field of category is listed here. Now going back to your setup menu, you can create a maximum of 45 such fields. Under fields, you have a list of all the available fields created so far. And here you will be able to delete ones that you no longer require. When you create a new project, you will be able to see the newly created fields listed along with the default ones. Now, moving back to your projects, you have multiple views for your projects by group, by client, or by owner. So this screen is also entirely customizable and you can choose to view fields according to your preference. Now, once you have completed your project, you will have the option to either archive it or trash it, and you can also create project templates. So now let's say you have a bunch of similar projects with the same set of milestones, task lists, and tasks. And every time such a project comes up, it will be quite tiresome to go back and recreate the same set of tasks, task lists, and milestones. So instead, you can create a project template. And within Zoho Projects, we give you the option to create a maximum of 20 such templates. You can give a template name and an overview, and then you can add in milestones, task lists, and tasks to the template. As I told you, each time a similar project comes up, you can simply associate it with this template, and all of the information that is a part of the template will be pre-populated to your new project. But on the other hand, say you already have an existing project with all the information you need, you can associate this template with that specific project. So for example, we want a construction template. So as you can see, the project overview is already pre-populated, and so will all the tasks, task lists, milestones, forums, etc. So we're going to add it. So as you can see, all the milestones are already a part of this construction template. So are all the forums and other things. Going back to your projects, now, when you click on the completion percentage of a project, this would give you a bird's eye view of your project in terms of budget, tasks, bugs, milestones, etc. And you can also export your projects and group similar projects together to make it easier to sort them. Now let's move into a project. So we are going into this project called the Donnelly Apartments construction. So as soon as you move into the project, you're first greeted by the dashboard, which is very similar to your home page, So here you have an overview of everything, the status of your team, tasks, milestones, timesheet summary, etc. And again, these are widgets that you can move about, and this page is also entirely customizable. You also have a feed page where you get updates for this particular project alone. Again, here too you have a status and an activity stream section and the Smart Ad tab at the top. Now moving on to milestones. So as I mentioned, milestones are specific points in your project timeline that you need to cover as you move from start to finish. So this could be a need for external review, budget check, etc. But in this project, we have marked each of our major project phases as a milestone, like preparatory site work, initial inspection phase, etc. Now, in order to add a new milestone, you give it a name first, a start date and an end date, set a person responsible, and flag it as internal or external. So, an internal milestone will be visible only to your project users. That is, an external milestone will be visible to both the client as well as the project users. You can make use of the filter icon at the top to refine your search, and you can export to PDF. Moving on to tasks. So this is where you can view all your task lists and your related tasks. So first we're going to see how to add a new task. First, give a task name. You can add a description if needed, and then select the task list to which it belongs. You can also drop in files or attachments if necessary. Set a person responsible and give a start date, an end date, and set priority. You can also set reminders for the task. For example, you can have reminders sent out daily on the same day or before 1 or 2 days before the task is due. And you can also set recurrence for the task. So this means that, say this task keeps happening on a daily basis or a weekly basis, you can set it to be a recurring task so that you do not need to come back to set it again each week that it occurs. You can set the recurring frequency to, say, weekly for every 2 weeks, and you can define after how many occurrences or cycles it has to end. So let's keep this at 4. You can also set work for the person in terms of work hours per day, work percentage per day, and total number of work hours. So under work hours per day, you can say that the person has to work on the task 4 hours every day. Work percentage per day would mean 30% of their work every day has to be devoted to this task, which is about 2.5 hours. Or you can define a total number of work hours, which means that they will be able to work on the task as per their convenience. For example, say you define a total of 8 hours for this task and they have 3 days to complete the task. So they can choose not to work on the first day and then split the work between the next 2 days. So this would be more convenient to the users. Now, while adding in a new task, you can also create your own additional fields to convey better according to your project requirements. So whatever it may be that you want to include, from release dates to listing out beneficiaries, we've got you covered. We are going back to our setup menu, choosing layouts and fields, and we're switching to the tasks tab on the left hand menu. So initially, all your projects will be automatically associated with the standard layout consisting of the default fields. You can either edit this layout or you can create new layouts and then associate projects with them. Now, while adding in a new layout, you have the option to clone from existing layouts. So once you select, you just have to give a layout name. So we're going with construction. Now, as you can see, the cloned fields will be added in automatically, and default fields cannot be edited or removed. Additional fields are highlighted, for example, furniture pick and budget, and these can be edited and removed. So task fields are grouped into sections within a layout. So you can create your own task fields by dragging and dropping different items from the panel. So we're going to add in a new section here, name it budget details. You can simply drag and drop different items from the panel. So I'm going with these two fields. And once you save the layout, you can simply associate projects with it. So I'm going to add in the Donnelly Apartments construction here. Now under fields, you will be able to see that you can create a maximum of 100 such fields for tasks and unlimited number of layouts. When we move back to the project, you will be able to see the newly added custom fields while adding in a new task. Okay, so that's how it works. And now within your task tab, you have three different views, the classic, plain, and Kanban. So in the classic view, all your tasks are listed under associated task lists. This is again fully customizable. You can add in a new task right here. You can also reorder your task list by dragging and dropping. You can drag and drop between tasks to reorder, and say you want to directly make the stability test task as a subtask. All you have to do is drag and drop it over the parent task. So I'm just going to drag it over this. You can see that it's immediately added in as a subtask to the parent task, the electrical test task. And moreover, you can also create task views based on the field values that you set. Let's say you want to view your high priority tasks. So you can give this a specific custom view name, give a description if needed, and set accessibility. So once you save this, you will be able to see that custom view listed here. And you can also star a particular view so that it will be available in your favorite views and you can access it easily. Now, another thing that you can do, you can also filter out tasks. So let's say we want to view our overdue high priority tasks. Okay, so once you filter a result, you can save these results as a new custom view. You will also be able to import and export your tasks, and tasks can be exported for yourself, for all of the users, or for specific users. Give it a status and flag it as internal, external, or all. This makes it possible to export all the tasks or just your internal or external tasks alone. Okay, the next is the task detail page. So clicking on a task would take you to what is known as the task detail page. So all the task information is at the center and the area for comments, subtasks, logging hours, dependencies, etc. are placed below. So if you want to break down your tasks to subtasks, you can do that here. You can also log in working hours for yourself or for another employee if you're the admin. So within Zoho Projects, there are three ways you can do this. One is through your task detail page, and the other is directly through your timesheet. And the third through the global timer widget, both of which I'll be showing you later on. So for any user for a particular day, all you have to do is add in the number of hours they've spent working on the task and set the status to billable or non-billable and then submit. So this has been added in as a timesheet entry. You can also add dependencies and associate documents, forums, and bugs or issues. Now, frequent conference room discussions and meetings can be difficult to organize. So instead, you can meet your team online to resolve problems and to take decisions. So click on the Meet Now option in the task detail page and invite your team members. So you can also invite more people to the meeting by sharing the URL generated here. Participants will receive a meeting invite as well as a notification within projects. This invite will also be pushed to your feed. An unlimited number of participants can join and audio, video, and chat is possible. Now next is the task custom status. So the task status is a stage that your task is currently in, and these needn't be just open or closed. You can create custom statuses to better capture the workflow of your tasks. Now let's go back to the layouts and fields section in the setup menu to see how we can do this. So from our task tab, we are selecting any layout. So here you can see that you have a field called status. Click on the customize option and you will be able to see that here there are many custom statuses that have been added, such as in progress, under review, released, etc. So in order to add a new status, all you have to do is give it a name and a basic function, whether it's open or closed. You can also set a default status if needed. These can be viewed and edited from your tasks tab as well as from your task detail page. So this is where you have it. The next is the plain view. So this is a simple list of all your tasks, which can also be customized as per your requirements. The Kanban is a set of cards that you can use to easily create and visualize your workflows. Tasks are arranged on the basis of task list, priority, status, or percentage, and these can help you better visualize your tasks. You can easily change the status of a task by making use of the drag and drop functionality. Next is reports and charts. Okay, so we have two different kinds of Gantt charts, the chronology Gantt and the milestone Gantt. The chronology Gantt and the milestone Gantt charts give you a detailed visual representation of the current progress of your project with respect to what was initially planned. So the chronology Gantt is a simple list of all your tasks, whereas the milestone Gantt has everything arranged as per the complete hierarchy. Now, related tasks are listed under specific task lists for each of the milestones here. And all of your tasks, task lists, milestones, and bugs are all marked in different colors, as well as percentage completed versus incomplete. So you can create and add 4 different types of task dependencies from these Gantt charts. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about each of them. So the first kind of dependency is the finish to start dependency. In this, the dependent task cannot begin until the parent task is completed. For example, the review process of a blog cannot start unless the draft is finished. And the next is the start to start dependency, which means that the dependent task or the child task cannot begin until the parent task has started. The finish to finish dependency, in this, the child task cannot be marked complete unless the parent task is marked complete. And lastly, the start to finish dependency. In this, the child task can be completed when the parent task is about to begin, or the parent task has to begin for the dependent task to be completed. Okay, so these are the 4 different kinds of dependencies that we support in Zoho projects. Now I'm going to show you how to set up these dependencies. And we have a lot of functionality in this page. So when you hover over a task name in the left menu, it will open a pop-up from where you can set your dependent tasks. So I'm going to add in a succeeding task here. So you can add a preceding task or a succeeding one, enter the name of the task that you want to link, and set the dependency to save. Click on the dependency to modify the type. A start to start dependency has been set here, but if you want, you can change it to a finish to start dependency. And you can also set a time lag between these two dependent tasks. For example, say you're setting a lag of 3 days. So as you can see, the tasks have adjusted accordingly. Now you can simply hover over the dependency to unlink. Another way to set up tasks is directly through the Gantt chart. Now you can draw a line from the parent task to the dependent one to set up the dependency. Alternatively, you can hold down the Alt key and then drag from the parent task to the child task to select the dependency type. So this is possible in both the chronology and the milestone Gantt charts. One thing that you notice here, as I hover over each of these tasks, you can see three icons. So the first icon helps you to add a task directly. The second icon allows you to jump to the respective task bar on the Gantt chart. An alternative function of the second icon is that it can also be used to set dependency quickly. So again, let's consider these two tasks itself. I'm going to unlink the dependency here. Now I can click on the second icon and then drag from the parent task to the child task to set up this dependency. And the third icon. So the third icon enables you to reorder your tasks and to create subtasks. So this is exactly like how I mentioned it in the task page. You have to click the icon and then drag between tasks to reorder it. And again, click the third icon and drag the task over a parent task to immediately add it as a subtask. Dependencies can also be set between tasks that do not have defined start and end dates. So you can predefine dependencies. And in order to do that, click on the scroll to unscheduled tasks option. So once you predefine dependencies, whenever you schedule the tasks, they will align themselves automatically as per the dependency set. You can easily edit your task dependency settings here. Now let's say you want to prepone or postpone a preceding task. If moving up due dates or extending due dates are enabled, then this means that the successor task will also shift automatically backwards or forwards by the same number of hours or days, provided that there is no conflict in dates in which the tasks are scheduled. As you can see here, moving up due dates is not enabled. We have a dependency between these two tasks set up. So when I move up my parent task, you can see that the child task does not adjust automatically because my moving up due dates is not enabled. But once I enable this, and I'm updating the settings, once I go back and I move up my parent task further ahead, you can see that now the child tasks shifts to adjust the lag. Consider another scenario where the preceding task is completed early or late. That is not on the scheduled due date, or it may even be reopened. So this means that if this setting is enabled, in such a case, the succeeding task would be updated automatically to reflect whatever be this change in the schedule. If a preceding task is completed a week early, then the succeeding task will be moved up automatically as per the change in schedule. Finally, you can also set the default dependency type here. So this means that the dependency will be set between two tasks based on how they are scheduled, since it's automatic. For example, now you can see that these two tasks are arranged in such a manner, and so if I drag a line from the parent task to the child task, it is a finish to start dependency that is going to be set. But however, say these two tasks are arranged in this manner, and again I'm going to drag a line from the parent task to the child task in order to set up a default dependency. Now you can see that a start to start dependency has been set because of the way these two tasks were scheduled. Moreover, an email notification will be sent to the assignee of the child task once the parent task has been completed. And within your Gantt charts, you have a show legends option on the top right corner of your page. Now, just like individual projects, project templates also have a Gantt chart view. So you will be able to see that this lets you define dependencies common to all the projects that were created using the template. The project timeline Gantt chart helps you visualize different project schedules quickly. So these Gantt bars show the length of time your project spans and how far along they are. Now let's move on to the resource utilization chart. Let's say a couple of new tasks have come up within the project and you have to see who is free enough to do it. So as you can see, there is a seesaw allotted for each member with allotted working hours on one end and free hours on the other. and these are marked in different colors. The green indicates that the person's work is within business hours and he or she has extra time on their hands to work on an additional task, whereas the blue indicates that the person is fully occupied and has no time to spare, and the red indicates that the person is overloaded with work. So, in such a case, you can redistribute the work between other members of the team, or you can move the task slider to adjust working hours. You can also make use of the arrows at the top to see different week views. You also have a filter icon here, and you can convert to PDF. Next is the planned versus actual. So when you want to know the planned work hours for each person in your team and the actual number of hours they have worked, such a report could really help. You can see how much of a difference is there and how many hours of work they would have to catch up on. So integrating with Zoho Reports, our advanced analytics and business intelligence app gives you in-depth insight into your team's progress. So we have a number of reports such as task reports, issues or bugs reports, burn down charts, timesheet reports, planned versus actual, etc. So for both your tasks and your bugs, besides the basic reports, you have advanced reports as well as the option to create customized reports. So you can view and analyze reports based on the field values that you select. So along with the default fields, custom fields are also in sync with Zoho Reports. Just select the criteria that you want to compare and we will chart it for you. Lastly, we also have timesheet reports, which gives you user-based log hours on a monthly basis for different chart types. Calendar. So the calendar within Zoho Projects will give you a clear picture of how occupied you are each day. Tasks, task lists, milestones, and issues or bugs are all clearly marked in different colors. So in order to add a new item, all you have to do is click on a date. You can also schedule an event from this tab directly and see a list of the events here. Documents. This is where all the files, images, presentations, etc. that are shared within the project are stored. Zoho Docs is our very own online document management software that lets you create, manage, and store all of your files easily in the cloud. So we also provide you with a version control system so that everyone has access to the latest version. Moreover, if you have to transfer chunks of files instead of doing it through mail, you can integrate with Dropbox and easily share your files with everyone in your team. So all you have to do is configure your Dropbox sync settings to get started. Next is the timesheet. So if you want to log in working hours for yourself or for another employee, in case you're the admin, there are three different ways that you can go about doing this. One is through the task detail page, which I showed you before. The second is through the global timer widget, which is present at the top. Here you can just search for a particular task. You can start the timer when you begin working on it. You can pause the timer while taking a break or switching to a different task and resume it once you're back. And whenever you end the timer, this will be immediately logged in as a new timesheet entry. The third way to log in time is directly through the timesheet feature. So you can do so either for a particular day or on a weekly basis. Now, for instance, let's say that Steve has stayed back yesterday to work on a particular task. So you can add notes if necessary and then add in the total number of hours he spent working on the task. Set the billing status to billable or non-billable, and once you submit this, a new timesheet entry will be made. You can have a timesheet approval process set up in place for your organization if needed. To set this up, you have to go to your global setup menu, choose org settings under portal configuration, and then choose task and timesheet. So here you can set up the default billing status, the timesheet approval process, and the time log period settings. So by default, there would not be an approval process in place. So this means that every employee or contractor within your organization can add timesheet entries for themselves, and an approval process would not be required. They will always be able to go back and edit these entries. Whereas if you choose to submit with approval, then the admin or the manager would have to first approve the timesheet entries made for it to become permanent and valid for invoice generation. So, in such a case, the employee and the contractor would not be able to go back and edit it. And you also have the option to configure time span to allow timesheet entries in your portal. So, you can choose to allow your employees to log in past time as well as future time. Say you're a strict organization and you want your employees to log time for the work done on that particular day itself, you can set this to don't allow. Or you can customize this according to your preference. So, this would mean that when you customize it, you will be able to allow time log for n number of days, weeks, or months before the current date. Now, going back to your timesheet, you will be able to view your timesheet entries in three different views: the list view, the grid view, and the month view. You can also group by user or by date. Now, let's say you want to know the number of users in your team who have not logged time for the past 1 week. Choose group by user and then make use of the filter icon to display unlogged users for the past week. So there you go. Another thing I would like to mention here is that you can export your timesheets to PDF. Integration with Zoho Books and Invoices can really help you manage your finances. You can create a budget for your project and you can track your expenses and create invoices for your customers. Forums. You can create forum posts when you need everybody's ideas and opinions, and there is no time to schedule a meeting according to everyone's convenience. So all you have to do is add a title, some content, and then choose to make it a Q&A, a sticky post, or an announcement. So this can really keep the conversation flowing and you can add in your valuable ideas and opinions. Next is the Pages feature. This is a repository of information for your project, which means that reference materials, specifications, and any other relevant information can be shared here. And you also have a Zoho chat with which we give you real-time collaboration with everyone in your team. So you will be able to create chat rooms quickly and keep conversations separate. There is one default chat room within each project that everyone is a part of. You also have a smart chat tab at the bottom of your page from where you can quickly initiate and resume your conversations. You're also provided a users tab within each of your projects from where you can add users directly to your project. Now, sometimes a person might need controlled access in one project and extensive access in another. So you will be able to set up project specific permissions for your team members irrespective of their user profiles. That is, a user who is an employee, for example, let's consider Lynn Wren. So she is given the profile of an employee, but she will be able to be given customized permissions to do more or less within a particular project, depending upon her role or the extent of her activity within a project. So I will be able to edit her permissions within this particular project alone. So now you can see that Lynn Wren is given customized permissions within this project. And once a user profile has been customized, you can copy the same permissions for another user instead of manually doing it. And this holds true for client users as well. Moreover, you will be able to customize your company profile. Your Zoho Projects portal is your exclusive workspace in the cloud. And now you will be able to give it the face of your company and feel more at home. In the setup menu, go to your org settings under portal configuration to upload your logo. And portal owners now have the ability to map the Zoho portal to your company web address. Lastly, game scope. So this is a gaming feature that is meant to bring an element of fun and healthy competition within your team. Anyone can create and start a new game, and points are earned on the basis of maximum number of tasks or bugs closed. You have all of your notifications here, and in the setup menu, you can edit both your personal as well as your portal settings. After adding a number of projects, if you feel that you're getting too many email notifications, this is where you can come back to adjust and reconfigure those settings. And under game scope settings, you will be able to see trophies and badges listed and the requirements for each. You can edit accordingly and even create custom trophies and badges, listing out specific requirements needed to win them. Under integrations, we have all of the integrations with our own Zoho apps as well as other apps, and you can easily configure those settings here. Well, this is it. This is the end of the demo. We have live chat for you, and we have also provided a learning center for you. And if you have any further queries, do mail us at support@zohoprojects.com, or you can tweet to us at Zoho, at Zoho Cares, or at Zoho Projects. Alternatively, you can also tweet me personally at sreggisam, my Twitter handle. Hope you like the product. Have a great day and many happy projects.